Hi everyone, welcome to week 12. This week we're going to be learning more tenses of the verb, so the imperfect and the future. We'll be exploring what we know about verbs. If you remember from before, from when we learned the present tense, we start with the second principal part, right, which is the RE form, and there's a vowel before that form, and then we drop that RE, right, and then we get the present stem, and then we use that present stem plus that vowel, which is that characteristic vowel, usually the vowel that comes before the RE. We'll see that that will change as we learn more verbs. So present stem plus the characteristic vowel, and then we add our endings to that. All right, and those endings are that OST, muss, tis, und. All right, so if we look at the chart up above here, right, here's our stem, there's our characteristic vowel, and there's our ending. All right, so port is the stem, A is the characteristic vowel, and M is the ending. Now you might notice that we have something new, all right, and so what we'll find for the imperfect and the future is that this will all be the same, all right, except what we're going to do is add what's called a tense sign, then the ending. So it's the same basic formula with a slight variation. So we have the present stem, we add the characteristic vowel, we add the tense sign, and then we add the endings to that tense sign. And as you might be able to tell, the tense sign for the imperfect is BA. All right? Everything else is just the same. So portabam, portabas, portabat, bamus, batus, bant. The one thing to note is this M ending. You might remember from when we learned those endings that M was kind of an alternate ending for O for the first person singular. And with the imperfect endings, it will use that alternate M ending. So that's the only slight difference. Otherwise, the imperfect uses the same endings and is formed in the same basic way with that tense sign included as the present tense verbs. From a translation standpoint, was verbing is kind of the most common translation. Used to verb is one. And I'm running out of room. I'll go over here. And kept on verbing is the other. All right. The imperfect refers to continuous action. Perfect in a grammatical sense or in a verb sense means something very different from what it means kind of in normal English. So perfect just means completed. And so the imperfect tense is an incomplete or a not completed action. And so that's that was verbing, right? I was running for 4 miles. I was studying for 4 hours. It's continuous. It stretches out over a period of time. All right, so that's the imperfect. So here is a little exercise, a way to practice it. All right, most of these verb forms are going to be imperfect. You choose the correct translation. All right, so for instance, if we look at number 1, there's that BA. That's the tense sign for the imperfect. All right, if I look at my first choice, you report. All right, that is not the imperfect. If I look at the second choice, you are reporting, same thing. It's a different present tense, but it's still the present tense. And then if I get to my third one, you used to report, right? That is one of those imperfect translations, so that is going to be correct. All right, so you used to report. All right, if I look at number 2, same thing. Here's my BA. That signifies that it's the imperfect. All right, if I look at the first choice, we were entering. There's that were verbing. All right, that looks like it's going to be correct, but let's check the others. We entered past tense, but it does use, change colors on you there, but does use kind of a different ending, not the ending for the imperfect. And then will, of course, is future, and so that's not going to be it either. So indeed, we were entering is correct. All right, as I said, most will be imperfect, but if you look at number 5, there is no BA in number 5, right? Just straight old manent. So was staying is the imperfect, but manent is not an imperfect form, so that's not correct. Did stay is another past tense, so again, that's not correct. So they are staying that present tense because there is no BA. It is just that straight present tense. That is going to be correct. All right, I'll leave the rest for you to do. All right, here is an imperfect text. All right, something to look at. So there are 6 imperfect verbs up there. All right, identify them. So remember, the key to the imperfect is finding that BA, excuse me, So trahebat, right there. Asidebat. All right, I'll find one more and then I'll leave the rest for you. Commodabat. All right, and you can see that if you look at other verbs, like say de fakerat, and I squiggly lined it just to make sure that you know it's not imperfect, no ba, right? Let's see if I find another. I'm finding all the imperfect verbs. All right, I guess de fakerat is the only non-imperfect verb in that whole thing, or at least the only non-imperfect personal verb. All right, so find those. All right, and then erat, you can see and see here, and I'll let you find it, and you can tell what line it is. So that is the irregular imperfect of sum. We've not learned that yet, but it's a good little heads up that that is what it's going to look like. All right, another imperfect. So identify the two imperfect first and second conjugation verbs in the above excerpt. All right, I'll let you do that. I'll focus on number 2. So creber, right, kind of looks like a verb, kind of looks like an imperfect with that be, but again, this would have to be ba. There is no variation. It's always going to be ba. So creber cannot be an imperfect verb. All right, shifting gears a little bit to the future. So the good news is it's going to be basically the same thing as the imperfect. So present stem, all right, plus vowel, plus tense sign, all right, and then plus endings. Now for the future, excuse me, that tense sign is going to be bi. All right, there are a couple variations as you might see in the chart. So there's a variation in the first person singular and in the third person plural. All right, otherwise you can see the bi throughout. All right, so bo bis bit, bimus bitis bunt. Note that it's very similar to the imperfect. It's just the difference between that one letter. So a for the imperfect, I for the future. All right. That's going to be your only distinction. And again, bio, right, what it would be in the first person singular, doesn't work, doesn't sound great. And the Romans don't like that im or in sound, which is why it's not bim, right? They wouldn't like that bim sound, so they go bo. Third person plural, again, same thing. They don't like that bint, int sound, so they change that to bunt. The I kind of softens to that U. All right, so those are the two exceptions, but otherwise it's bi. And of course, the translation is, oops, sorry about that, is will verb. All right, so that's our basic future translation, will verb. All right, so here's a little exercise. Now we're going kind of English to Latin. This will be similar to slash the kind of thing that you'll have to do for your writing summative. All right, so again, if you look up at the example, so I will stay, so you know your subject's I. Obviously, we're dealing with the future, so you need that bo. So if it's we will prepare, we is going to give us mus. Will, of course, is going to give us the bi. And para, the stem is already there. So para be mus. Para be mus. All right, so the bi is the future. The mus is the subject, the we. All right, same thing with number 2. They will announce. So they is going to be unt. All right, will is going to be bi. Squiggle there because it's going to be a slight change. So nuntia bunt. All right, remember it's not going to be bint because they don't like that sound, but it is going to be bunt. That I softens to a U. All right, and I'll let you do the rest. All right. All right, this is the motto, the seal of Johns Hopkins. You can see, all right, here, veritas, vos, liberabit, and that liberabit is that future tense. All right, veritas is the subject, it means truth, and vos is the object, it's the pronoun you, the you plural. So the truth will free you or will set you free. Okay, note that that bit makes it future. It's not the truth does set you free, that would be present. And liberat, that bit makes it future. So the truth will set you free, veritas vos liberat. All right, this is Columbia University's seal. All right, a little more sort of complex, but here's my future verb there, videbimus. So in lumina tuo, videbimus lumen. All right, so we will see the light. All right, so videbimus, we will see. All right, we will see the light in your light, right? So kind of the light metaphor for like sort of the good parts or the inside of you, that kind of thing. All right, so we will see the light in your life. But there again is that future with that bi, and of course the mus is the we ending. All right, this is kind of a random one. Apparently, this is the University of Birmingham, I assume in England, their air squadron. But Scientia dabit alas. All right, and again, that dabit, there's that bi, which is our future tense, of course, right? Dodar is to give. Scientia is like knowledge, or science, obviously, is the word we get from it, but more broadly, it means knowledge. So, knowledge will give wings, will provide wings. And obviously, as an air squadron, right, they're saying so the more they know, the more they study / prepare, the better they're going to be at flying. But again, dabit, there's that bi and the future tense. All right, now Augabitur, you can see that here. I wrote it out because it's a little hard to read on the seal. This is the University of Leeds. That tur ending might be a little unfamiliar. That's the passive. So fine, we haven't learned that yet, but the same thing applies. We can see the bi in the verb, which makes it future. All right, knowledge, scientia, will be increased. All right, and again, just a little heads up about the passive. That's what that is / how that works. But the important part is the bi as the future. So will be increased. All right, this is the University of Lisbon, the new University of Lisbon. You can see down here, stabit is our future verb. So the whole state, all right, every kind of civilization, all right, united against itself, or sorry, divided against itself, divisa contra se, will not last, will not stand. But the important part, of course, is the will, right, with that bi. All right, and one more, maybe one more. And I wrote it out because it was a little hard to see, but I wanted to highlight the kind of irregular or the slightly different first person singular. So I will show you. Monstrabo tibi. All right, I will show you. All right, and the viam sapientia, the path to wisdom. But the important part here is that bow, right? So I will show. All right. All right, and there is one more. All right, and again, same thing with that irregular I. So I will see. So with a bow, I will see. All right. So here is a little text. So 3 first and second conjugation future tense verbs in the above poem. I'll pick out maybe one. All right, so negabit is there. Sorry about that. Negabit is there. All right, spoliabit is there. See if you can find the other one. All right, I'll give you a hint. It's a second person singular form. All right, and then what are their subjects? A good way to identify their subjects. All right, so here's an exercise kind of combining them both. So you're going to choose the Latin for whatever is on the left. The important thing here is to make sure to identify the tense. So will enter is obviously going to be future. If it's future, that's going to be that bi with the exceptions, but of course he, she, it will use the bi. So here's bit, here's bimus, here's bunt. So all 3 of these forms, are future. You need the one with he as its subject, which is intrabit. All right, so I used to announce, number 2. So used to, that's going to be imperfect. All right, so here's imperfect with I as the subject. Should be correct, but let's just make sure. I as the subject future, I as subject present. So this, again, is correct. Nuntiabam. All right, they will remain, number 3. So obviously they is going to be NT. Will is going to be future. Here is future, but it's T. So that's he, she, it. Right, not they. Oops, sorry about that. Here's they, but it's BA, so that's imperfect. Here's they and future with that mani bunt. So that's going to be correct. All right, and again, I'll leave the rest to you. Excuse me. All right, so let's take a look at this week's summary. So here is the reading. So you're just translating the verb forms. Remember, when you're doing this, you want to focus on tense, subject, and meaning. All right. So tense, is it present? Is it imperfect? Is it future? Subject, what ending is it? And of course, who's the subject that ending indicates? And of course, meaning, right? That's pure vocab. What does the verb mean? So in other words, I'll work from the bottom since I took out some room for the top ones. Mane bunt, right? Mane or manera means to stay. Bu tells me it's future. NT tells me it's they. So they will remain. All right. Number 9 is a little bit tricky. I'm going to let you figure it out. But it is a form that we don't see too often. It is neither future nor imperfect. It's kind of present, but it's not present indicative. Again, I'll let you figure out the rest. If I go to nuntiatus, all right, no tense sign. All right, so that means it's present, right? Just that A is the character's vowel, and the TIS is my you plural. So you all announce, right? Just straight present tense. All right, and I'll leave the rest for you. All right, translations, I'll leave those for you as well, but same thing, right? Keep in mind subject and keep in mind tense. All right, here is the writing summative. So here you're just supplying the endings for the forms that left. Some of these we've already done, right? This is exactly what we saw earlier in the video. So we will prepare, they will announce, etc. I'll do number 3 and then leave the rest for you since I've already done 1 and 2. He, she, it, was, staying. So he, she, it gives me my subject. Was, staying gives me my tense as imperfect. So that's BA for imperfect and then T for he, she, it. All right, part B. Here it is. So you're translating the sentences into Latin. All right. So a couple things to watch out for, or at least one thing to watch out for. So in number 2, used to, it's very common to kind of take that apart and see that as 2 different verbs. All right. And the to give as an infinitive, right? That kind of RE form. Remember that used to verb is a way to translate the imperfect. So used to give, right? That's going to be one form that is the imperfect. So the son is singular and obviously third person. So Filius, that's the son. I'll let you do masters. Filius da bot. There's my imperfect. There's of course the third person singular. All right, and that's my form. All right, so that is it for this week. Please email me if you have any questions, and I'll be back next week. Thanks.